A couple of months ago now, I made a video about Boogie 2988, Anita Sarkeesian and Sargon of Akkad, and it was titled In Defense of Boogie 2988, Anita Sarkeesian, Sargon of Akkad, and the Battle of VidCon. And I'll put a link in at the top and in the description if you want to go and have a look at it. It's a bit dated now, but hey, you know, fill your boots. But I don't want to talk about that video specifically here. What I want to talk about is the footage that I used in the background, the gameplay I used. And the gameplay I used was of the game Inside, which I'm a big fan of. Now, I didn't think any more of it, but then last week or earlier this week, I got a copyright claim against the video. And as it turned out, it seems that the copyright claim was against the gameplay that I used in that video. And this happened with another video of mine, a Doctor Who video that I put up, talking about the new Doctor Who. And I had no problems with that because obviously I'd used a little bit of some BBC footage and they claimed the video based on the use of that footage. And I didn't dispute that one. And I looked at this one and I thought, well, okay, if Playdead had made a claim, it would have been annoying, but perhaps within their rights. And, you know, given the controversial nature of that video, or the potentially controversial nature of that video, I don't think it was particularly controversial. I was trying to take a middle ground. They could have made a claim, perhaps. And, you know, as with the BBC claim, I probably would have understood it. As I say, I wouldn't necessarily have liked it, but I would have understood it. And if they'd have asked me to take down the video, I would have done. And I probably would have not even bothered remaking the video, but I would have taken it down if Playdead had asked me. But this is what Playdead have to say about using their gameplay on their website. And I'll put a link in the description to their website as well, where you can go and read this item. It says, you want to share Inside or Limbo footage? For example, a reviewer or Let's Play on YouTube? Permission granted. We own and control all rights to Limbo and Inside, and hereby grant you permission to share footage in the mentioned context. Now that's important. Please do not present the audio or visuals detached from one another. Fair enough. You're welcome to add your voiceover commentary. You can find additional supporting and useful materials at playdead.com/press. Now, obviously, in relation to this, they talk about context, and that's important. So this isn't a catch-all, if you like. This isn't a free-for-all. You can use Playdead's properties in a certain circumstance. And, you know, arguably, my video could still be seen as not falling under the statement that Playdead have made. And as I said, that's fair enough. But I looked at what they've said, and I was thinking, you know what, Playdead aren't putting out bots and they aren't going to be spending a lot of time looking for people using their footage. So I started to smell a rat, you know, because we know with Nintendo and Konami, fuck Konami, they use bots to track down people using any of their gameplay. So you know you're going to get hit by them. But I thought, you know, I don't think that Playdead are going to be doing that. So even if perhaps they could have had a problem with my video, they probably wouldn't have even seen it. And still it applies. If they came to me now and said, take the video down because we don't like the content, I would. I'd be happy to do that. But I looked at this and I thought, this isn't Playdead. So I had a bit more of a dig around. And I found that the people making the claim against my video are in no way connected to Playdead. And therefore they have no claim whatsoever to the video. But this is where it gets tricky, because when you go to dispute a claim, there's no option to select spurious toe rags trying to steal my work. Now, I don't make any money off of YouTube. I'm a small channel. But this to me is a matter of principle. I don't want somebody coming in who has no rights to either my video or the footage I'm using making a claim against my video. But when you start going into the process of disputing a claim, well, you're then into twitchy bum time, because disputing a claim, well, the process for it would put a lot of people off. And that means that anyone making enough dodgy claims stands a decent chance of making money as long as people are too scared to dispute the claims. I'll show you here. If you go in and you look, I'll bring up my Doctor Who video because the claim against my Boogie 2988 video was dropped pretty rapidly once I filed a dispute. But the claim against my Doctor Who video still stands, and I've not filed a dispute because, as I've explained, it seems fair enough to me. I did use some BBC footage in the video and I expected it to be claimed, to be honest. But once I filed a dispute, and in this case the dispute was upheld, obviously I haven't got this page anymore, so I can't show you where it goes in and it says file a dispute. But if you go in and you click on file a dispute, the next screen you'll see will be this one. And it says, well, in this instance, as I say, it's still the Doctor Who video, but it says, I believe that this copyright claim is not valid because, and then there's a list, and it says, I own the CD, DVD, or bought the song online. There's no song in this one. I am not selling the video or making any money from it. I gave credit in the video. The video is my original content and I own all rights to it. I have license or permission from the proper rights holder to use this material. And this one seems to be the one that falls closest in this instance. My use of the content meets the legal requirements for fair use or fair dealing under applicable copyright laws. The content is in the public domain or is not eligible for copyright protection. And if you look, there are no options for saying that these guys don't have claim to this because they don't own the copyright to this either. And I would think that that's a glaring omission here. If you look at this, it doesn't give any real option for me to be fighting these people other than to say I own this copyright. And arguably, I don't in some instances. It's Playdead that own the copyright to the gameplay. So here, I'm in a situation where I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, I don't want to say something that's not true. So the one I actually used was I have license or permission from the proper rights holder because that's the closest one. But like I say, I do think if you look at what Playdead had to say, there are some limits as to what they will allow. And so this becomes a problem for me. And I would think that there's a lot of people going in and looking at this and they would balk at it. And they would maybe, if they're a small YouTuber, they're not making any real money from YouTube, like me, they'll throw up their hands and they'll say, you know what, I'm not even going to dispute this. I'll just let it ride. And the problem is when you let it ride, if these people are making claims against enough small YouTubers and enough small YouTubers just let it ride, well, if each of these YouTubers are making a few pennies here and there, potentially these guys making this claim could be making a nice significant wodge of cash off of other people's work. This kind of leaves us high and dry. And it looks to me like YouTube are in effect encouraging crooks by not taking a more active role in discouraging spurious claims. The big guys can threaten legal action. But even they might find it expensive or prohibitive. I mean, if we look at what happened with H3H3 in the court case that they had, that took them ages and cost them thousands. And then we got Alex Mauer, who terrorised anybody using game footage from Starmazer, which she was claiming to have written the music for. And I think she did, but there's a dispute going on there, and I don't want to get into that because it's a court case at the moment. Obviously, my situation is tiny, as I've already mentioned. I'm a tiny YouTuber. I don't really make any money, but it is a matter of principle. And it shows just how skewed this whole process is against content creators. As I say, the claim against me was removed quickly and quietly. But what if it hadn't been? What am I supposed to do? If my dispute wasn't upheld, where else do I go? What do I do next? There doesn't seem to be any recourse for me, other than maybe going through the courts, and I can't afford to do that. The fact is that if you're a YouTuber, sooner or later someone's going to make a claim against you. That just seems to be a fact of life. And when it happens, you'll be angry, you'll be confused, and you might be a little bit worried as well in case your channel's at risk, because that's a very real possibility if someone's making a claim. Okay, there's a slight difference between claims and strikes, but do you actually know the difference? I'm not sure that I do. I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand the ins and outs of this. And that's the problem, isn't it? These parasites are the YouTube equivalent of gangsters. They're threatening you in the hope that you'll be too scared or confused to fight back. And the cops, or in this case Google, well, they're sitting on their asses, eating their donuts and doing fuck all about it. As I say, this got resolved for me, and I'm pleased that it was resolved quickly, but I don't think Google did too much about it. I don't think YouTube had much to say about it. It was just, I think that the people backed off. I don't actually know, and that's another problem. I don't actually know what was going on. But anyway, as is ever the case, you guys might think differently on this issue. Let me know in the comments, and we'll have a chat about it. What do you think about Google? Do you think they should play a bit more of an active role in this? They're making millions, billions perhaps from all this, from all the advertising revenue that's coming in. Maybe they should actually get involved, rather than letting algorithms do everything. But as I say, you might disagree with me. And that's fine. Let's have a talk about it. And in the meantime, I'm going to go and calm down a bit, have a cup of tea and watch a bit of telly. And I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.